People, what is good? Let me sort out the chat real quick. See, I'm getting used to this now. I am getting used to this. Moderation, subscribers. Right. Welcome back to the channel, people. And today we're going to be discussing where we go from here. And when I say where do we go from here, I mean what's kind of like, what is the expectation? Let's word it that way. What's the expectation? And what I've been seeing from the majority of people as to what our expectation is, and me personally, what I think and how I think the season is going to pan out. And in the title as well, I have put, did we do enough in the summer? The reason I put that is because I personally don't think we did. I don't believe we've done enough in the summer, and I believe that is the main reason as to why we are where we are today, and we feel the way we feel today. Now, I know there's of course there's a large portion of the fan base which don't feel that way, and there's a large portion of the fan base which will always defend the decisions of the club, and they'll always defend the decisions just in general, regardless whether deep down they know that, even if they know deep down that it's the wrong decisions, they will still defend it, only because that's just the way that they decide to support the club, which is fine. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and everyone can support the club however they want to support the club. But for me personally, where we did go wrong was in the summer, and I think that was the start of the collapse that we've seen in the first 10 games of this season. I feel like a lot of things were glossed over, and this club, one thing they're good at, and I've always said the club is very good at PR. It's very good at spinning the narrative and almost glossing over like situations that shouldn't be glossed over, and making supporters feel like the bare minimum is enough, which obviously is not the case, considering what's happened at the beginning of the season. So, of course, like I said, there is that part of the fan base, and it's the majority, that do feel like the club done enough in the summer, and the window was a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever they wanted to say. But at the end of the day, the truth always comes out, and a reflection is what's happening on the pitch. And whether you want to be positive or you want to deem someone as negative, or however you want to see it, at the end of the day, it's a results-based business. So based off of results, forget performances. The performances have been dire anyway, barring one or two occasions where you can pick out in certain games, in certain moments, in certain halves maybe, that we've played well. But apart from that, in terms of results, the results have not been there. Results have been very disappointing, to say the least, and I think the best way to describe the results are underwhelming. And I feel like that's the key word, because that also reflects our transfer window. I feel like that reflects our summer window as well. Big up yourself, Chloe. Appreciate that. I feel like that reflects our summer window. Underwhelming. That's the perfect way to describe it for me, because we all as fans, whether now you want to, for example, see someone as negative, positive, however they support the club, we all saw that we required that something special, that one signing which would get us over the line. The gap between us and Manchester City was 2 points last year. So it wasn't nothing crazy. It wasn't something where it's like, oh my God, we're like 10 points behind. We need to make 6, 7 sign. It wasn't that. That wasn't the case. We're literally about 2 or 3 signings away. And that one, I'd say, key component up front. So that marquee player that we could rely on to get us over the line in key moments and in tight games, like we saw with the Bayern Munich last season in the Champions League, like we saw in the Aston Villa game last season, where we dominated the first half and no one was putting a ball in the back of the net, and that came back to haunt us in the end. So in those kind of moments, we knew that we needed someone special up front. Now, the reason it was underwhelming was because, yes, we signed Calafiori, who is decent, but again, very injury prone. He was injury prone when he was in Bologna, and he's came to Arsenal, and since he's been at Arsenal, we're only 10, 11 games into the season and a few cup games, which he's barely featured in any games, and he's already picked up 2 injuries. Granted, one of them was for Italy and international duty, but the fact that he's already picked up 2 injuries, and if you go and look at his record for Bologna, it was poor. He's a very injury-prone player, so that's not good. But it's a decent, you can say, okay, no problem, as a cover, or maybe he might break into the first team and he's still young, so he might get over his injury issues and whatever. So you can say that's fine, that's good business. Then you go on to the second purchase that we made, Mikel Merino. Now, one thing I would say about both of these signings, right, is they're not bad signings per se, but the way that we went about signing these players was shocking. Let's just call a spade a spade. Whether you agree with the whole window or whatever, the way that the signings were made, whether you think the signing is good or not, that's a different thing. Separate that. Let's just talk about the way the business was done. It took about 6 weeks to get the Moreno deal through the door. It took about, I think, 4 weeks to get the Calafiori deal through the door. So these are already signs that, why is it taking you so long to negotiate and to get these deals over the line? What is it that's holding us back from making these deals? Everyone knew that the agreement was in place. Everyone knew that the price was set. We were just haggling over small details, and that's another issue with this club. It was that when it came to the summer window, because we were wasting time. All of that time we could have used to scout. We should have done our scouting before, but we could have used that to look for other players, maybe speak to other agents of players, and all these kind of things, they matter. Then the biggest part, which goes back to the whole underwhelming thing that I was saying earlier, the worst one, we were linked with Sesko. We were linked with Gyökeres. And this ain't the first time this has happened under this ownership. It's happened before with Higuain. It's happened before with Draxler. The list can go on and on and on, and I'm sure all of you guys know this. We were linked with Sesko. We were linked with Gyökeres. We were linked with Eze. We were linked with so many forward players, not necessarily a striker, but forwards. We were linked with Nico Williams, Eze, Gyökeres, Sesko, Ivan Toney. There were so many players that we were linked with. It was down to the transfer deadline day, and these guys served us up. Raheem Sterling on loan. Which now, the reason I say is underwhelming, not only do I disagree with the fact that they went and got Sterling. Forget what I think. Okay, say if they feel like that was genuinely who they wanted, which it wasn't, by the way. It was just a panic buy. But if you're gullible enough to believe that that's who they actually wanted, why is it now that we need cover in certain areas when we have injuries and stuff? These players that we were told to believe in, and these players that we were told to trust this process or whatever, why are these players not featuring? Why am I seeing Arteta come out in his press conference and talking about Sterling doesn't look match sharp? He don't look sharp enough in training. But yet when you signed him and you done an interview and you sold the player to us as supporters, as fans, I quote Mikel Arteta when he said, I only needed to speak to Raheem Sterling for 2 minutes to see the fight, like the fire in his eyes and all this bullshit that he was talking about. And he said the same thing with Jesus, by the way. He said, I can see the spark in his eyes when he's training. Like, what is all this PR? And this is why it goes back to the point that I made at the beginning of the video. They love PR. These guys are just feeding out PR. We're a PR machine. When it comes to PR, Arsenal Football Club is treble winning level. Like, we are like Champions League. We are like the creme de la creme, upper echelon when it comes to this PR and merchandise. They'll lose a game and drop some retro kit from like the 90s or some shit. Like this kind of stuff, we're perfect in. Then we'll move on to, because we're breaking this down now, yeah? So then the transfer window, underwhelming. Cool. We listened to them. They said, we don't need to replace Smith Rowe. We don't need to replace Fabio Vieira. We don't need to replace any of these players because we're going to rely on Ethan Nwaneri to come in as the Odegaard deputy. Cool. That's that position sorted. We don't need to get a replacement for Saka because we're going to rely on Sterling. Cool. We'll take that. We'll accept it. Even though we don't want it as supporters, let's just see how it plays out because you never know. He might be able to get a tune out of him like he did with Kai Havertz towards the back end of last season. Maybe, we don't know. Maybe he's seeing something in training that we don't see. Yeah? So cool. So then we go into the season now. When we need these players to deputize for the players that are missing or not fit or injured or whatever, why are we not seeing them? And no one questions it. No one says, like, no one's holding them accountable for these decisions. Martin Odegaard went out for the Nations League, got injured. During that spell that he was injured, now he's obviously back, thank God for that. During that spell that he was injured, we never saw Ethan play, apart from against Bolton and in the cup games. We never saw Ethan play in that position. When we did see him play, he scored. And he played well. When he did come off the bench against Tottenham in the Premier League, by the way, away from home in a hostile atmosphere, North London derby, he was the spark. He made the impact. Against Leicester when he came on, when we were drawing the game, he came on. He was the spark. He made the impact. But he doesn't trust him. So you told us as supporters, you literally said, out of your own words, we don't need to sign backup for Odegaard. Yeah? Because you trust Ethan. And Ethan's he's the deputy for Martin Odegaard. So that was a lie. That's another lie to add to the 10 other lies that you told during the transfer window. Again, PR. Just to keep us what? To keep us satisfied so that we don't kick up a fuss as supporters and we don't say anything. Like, we just sit there like dickheads, bro. And accept this shit. So the Ethan thing was nonsense. Then Bukayo Saka starts picking up knocks, gets injured for England, comes back, he's picking up knocks, he's not 100% and he's playing, and he's not at 100% when he's playing. Instead of bringing in the player that you signed on deadline day, Raheem Sterling, the player that you told us all is cover for the right-hand side and cover for the left. So he covers Martinelli's side and he covers Saka's side. So instead of bringing in that player that you said to us that's the deputy for Saka, should anything go wrong, you don't bring him in. And then your reason in a press conference recently is that he's not match sharp and he's not fit. That's another lie. So you've lied again then, because you lied about Ethan Nwaneri being the deputy to Odegaard because you don't play him. Yeah. You lied about Raheem Sterling because you told us it took you 5 minutes on the phone speaking to this guy to realize, oh my God, I can rejuvenate his career and da 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 da. But in reality, you can't because he's coming to the club. You haven't played him. You've said he's not good enough. So you've lied again about that. So what is left of our window? Moreno, who has not been good enough. Mikel Moreno, who's not been good enough. And Calafiori, who's injury prone. And he's still injured, by the way. So really and truly, when people say we have strengthened, people are saying to me, when I'm having debates with people, they're saying, no, but we strengthened in the summer window. Did we? Like when you break it down, when you actually go player for player and you break this shit down, like, did we strengthen? I don't see where we strengthened. I feel like we got weaker. I genuinely feel like we got weaker. Because if you're not going to trust the Ethan, I would much rather you bring on Smith Rowe. Then he told us he doesn't need to bring in a striker because he's got Havertz and he's seen the fire in Jesus' eyes. After his injury, he's seen the fire and he believes he's going to get back to how he was before he got the first injury. Really? Because what I'm seeing is not fire, mate. I'm not seeing no fire, bro. I'm not seeing no desire. I ain't seeing nothing. I'm just seeing this guy come on the pitch, do two step overs, little majinky, and then lose the ball. That's what I'm seeing from Jesus. No end product still. Doesn't take on his man. So like I said, when we really break down this window, transfer window that we were supposedly improving drastically in, that's not really the case, is it? Like, it's just not the case. We didn't really improve at all. Because if you break it down, you basically brought an injury-prone player and Mikel Moreno. Raheem Sterling you don't trust. You sold out attacking midfielders who deputised for Odegaard. Ethan Nwaneri you don't trust. Jesus, who's supposed to be our backup forward, is not good enough. So was you not, my question is, was you not better off not buying Calafiori and not buying Mikel Moreno, trust in Jorginho and Partey, and purchase a striker like Gyökeres? Go get us that gunman up front. Was you not better off doing that? Because I sure know, definitely, me personally, I would much rather have signed Gyökeres as opposed to Moreno and Calafiori and Sterling on a loan. Like, I am 100% sure. Do not let this club fool you guys, bro. We have money. Do not let these guys fool you. We have money. We definitely have money. So this is where I say, where do we go from here now? Where we go from here is we need to stay within touching distance of the top, whether that be Man City, whether that be Liverpool. I don't care who's on top. At the end of the day, we need to stay within touching distance of the top until we get to January. When we get to January, we finished last summer in profit. Net spend was profit. We were in profit at the end of last summer. Okay? So we need to get to January window within touching distance of the top. That's step number one. When we get to that January transfer window, we need the necessary actions taken in order to improve this squad. Improve. Keyword is improve. Not go and sign injury-prone players. Yeah? Not go and get us people that ain't good enough to even come off the bench because you don't trust them and you don't see they're sharp in training and all of this. Not that. Not these kind of signings. We need a signing. Whether you splash out cash on one signing or split it between two signings, we need players to come into this football club that the manager trusts. Okay? You trust him. You're going to play him, and he's going to significantly improve our squad or starting 11. Simple as that. Stop feeding us PR. Stop talking nonsense and telling us one thing and doing something else. Because at the end of the day, you can talk from today till next week about a player, but it's your actions on that pitch that speak louder than your words in a press conference, mate. You can tell us all day that Raheem Sterling, you spoke to him for 5 minutes and he sounds like Pele, but at the end of the day, if you're not playing him on the pitch, what you're telling us in a press conference doesn't mean anything. You can sit there and tell me we don't need cover for Odegaard because we've got Ethan Nwaneri and da-da-da. But if you're not trusting the kid, then I'm sorry, you're talking nonsense. You're waffling. Your words don't mean anything. Actions speak louder than words, bro. And so for that reason, when you go out in January, you better bring me a forward, yeah, a striker. I want to see a striker come in January that comes into the club, and we as supporters can automatically sit there and say, yo, that's a player. We got a player there. He's in demand. Everyone wants him. He's banging in goals across Europe. There's plenty of people, by the way. It's not just Gyökeres that you can get. There's a load of footballers out there, bro. There's Marmoush. There's Gyökeres. There's a lot, bro. It's not just one player. Like, it's not. Everyone seems to think when I say Gyökeres, that means it's Gyökeres or no one else. No, it's not Gyökeres or no one else. Go and get a Marmoush. There's so many players out there that can improve our team. There is so many players out there that can give us a different dynamic, a different threat, as opposed to what we have currently, as opposed to the squad that we have at the moment, which 2 or 3 players he doesn't even trust. And we've already got the smallest squad in the Premier League, numbers-wise. So if you add that up and mix that up with the fact that he doesn't trust half of these players, then where do we go from here, bro? We've already got the smallest squad in the Premier League. We've got injuries. We've got injury-prone players. And on top of that, you don't trust the few that are fit, that are available. You don't trust Ethan. You don't trust Sterling. So what are we doing? You don't trust our attackers that are on the bench. The defenders that you purchased are injured. The midfielder that you purchased don't look good enough. He looks like he's in quicksand. He's one of the most unathletic footballers in the Premier League right now, Moreno. He actually looks overweight, if anything. Like, he actually looks overweight. He don't even look fit, like, to be a footballer. I am more in shape than him, and I'm eating McDonald's and shit. Like, bro, this guy's he's not athletic. He don't look fit for the Premier League. So going forward, we have to recruit. And please, I cannot see these again. Our supporters need, like, we don't realize as fans, yeah, how much our voice impacts things. Just look at the Super League. When they wanted to do the Super League, all the fans were united. All the fans were on the same page. All of us said, no, you're not doing this. Went outside, protested, done all these things on social media. And they didn't do it. But why is it when it comes to we want the club to sign top tier talent? We want the club to get us the best forwards, the best midfielders, the best defenders. Why when it comes to this stuff we can't, not everyone agrees. You got people happy with Sterling trying to justify it. There is no way on this earth you can tell me that any single one of these people that are satisfied with Sterling, if I gave them a choice between Sterling and Eze, they're telling me Sterling. The only reason they would tell me Sterling is because that's what happened. That's who we got. So they just want to defend the manager blindly. And by the way, the person who was doing these negotiations and the person that was dealing with all of this stuff in the last transfer window has bailed out on this project. But that's a different video. I've spoken about that before. But that screams out volume. That says volumes about where we are right now. And that is concerning for me. The fact that the person that told us to believe in this project has bailed That's not good. That screams out to me that something's going on at the club that we don't know about. Because surely if he wanted to move on, he could have left when in the summer. He could have left in the summer and just given over the reins to someone else, as opposed to staying on for 10 games into the season and now leaving us without a sporting director. We could be going into the January transfer window without a sporting director. So again, this all falls back on Arteta and on his staff and on the Cronkies. And until people hold these people accountable, people need to be held accountable. Please, people, understand that. You cannot just get a free ride at anything. You can't. There has to be consequences for people's actions. If you are making certain decisions and we as supporters are saying, okay, we're just going to sit back and we're going to see how this pans out. Okay, cool. You want Sterling? Cool. You want Moreno? Cool. You done the transfer window how you wanted it. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. I sat there. I wasn't happy with the window, but I said, you know what? Let's see how it plays out. Because I wasn't happy that you signed Kai Havertz. But at the end of last season, he done a job. And you proved me wrong somewhat. That you could get a tune out of him. I didn't even think you could get a tune out of him. I didn't even think he could have any use. So I said the same thing again this season. I said, you know what? We finished 2 points off. He's always improving slowly every year. Maybe he can, with these signings, he can, that's it. Like, take us to that next level. But deep inside, I knew that signing Raheem Sterling on deadline day on a loan and bringing in a injury-prone Calafiori and a Mikel Moreno who's unathletic and overweight is not enough. But because of my trust in the manager, I said I'll give it a chance. And because it's gone left now, it's just gone completely left. Like the whole thing's just gone to pot within 10 games, and we're in some mini crisis. Now we just need to focus and stay within the pack. That's the aim. I'm hearing people talk about 10 game runs, 20 game runs. I'm not bothered about all that. Game by game, win our games. Worst comes to worst, as it stands, we will go into January 9 points behind Liverpool if they win every single game and we stay on their coattails and win every single game. We need to do what's necessary in January. Simple as that. Should we fail to recruit well in January, forget it. Forget it. Forget it, right? Even if we're within 3-4 points of the title come January, if he does not recruit properly and correctly in January, then the title's a write-off. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit there and delude myself and live off of fake hopium and listen to this PR from this club every single day telling me this player is good enough, that player is good enough, trust the process, phase 5, phase 6, phase 50. I'm not going to listen to that, bro. It's going to go in one ear, out the other ear. Because at the end of the day, you told me this last summer. You told me that Raheem Sterling, 5 minutes on the phone, and next thing you know, he's Maradona. You told me that Jesus, there's a fire in his eye when he's training. You told me that Ethan Nwaneri is going to be the backup to Odegaard. I just heard this like a few months ago. What, 2-3 months ago? So I'm not an idiot. You can't fool me 2-3 months down the line again and sell me a dream. Like, that's not how this shit works, bro. So if he doesn't do and get the adequate players, because there's money there. The money is not a problem. There is definite. We finished. Sorry about that. We finished this last transfer window in profit. We finished this last transfer window with a net spend in profit. So I don't want to hear in January there's no money, we don't have money. Don't let these people talk rubbish, bro. Why do we always settle as a fan base for the bare minimum? Why do we always settle for crumbs? Are we serious about winning this title, or are people just saying it for the sake of saying it? Because right now, based off what I'm seeing on social media and all these platforms trying to glorify and talk like this transfer window that we just had was a success, and telling us how we improved, then bro, we're never ever gonna win anything like that. Because people who win, yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, for those people that actually genuinely believe that, the people that win in life, yeah, forget football, in life, are people that have a ruthless mentality. Ruthless. They don't accept losing. There is no losing. That don't compute with them. They don't accept mediocrity. They don't accept average. They don't accept subpar, below par, underachieving. They don't accept that. The minute those things become acceptable for you as a fan base and as a fan or as a manager or as a player or as an owner, the minute these things become acceptable for you, okay, you are not a winner. You do not really want to win. You don't really and truly want to win because you're not willing to go that extra mile. You're not willing to go that extra step. And this isn't new for Arsenal Football Club. I remember since I was 7 years old. That's how far back my memory goes with Arsenal. Like my first memory, proper memory of Arsenal. And that's 24 years ago now. During my 24 years of remembering, like supporting Arsenal, because obviously I'm 31, but when you're flipping 1 year old, you don't remember stuff. So during that time period, Arsenal has always done this. They've always done this. And me being the type of fan I am, I've actually researched deeper than that. I've researched way beyond my years as well. Like way beyond my 31 years, I've researched into it, to how the DNA of the club has been when it comes to transfers. And I've noticed a pattern. The last time this club went that extra mile, okay, to sign a marquee player and move ruthless, was taking Sol Campbell from Tottenham. At the time, Sol Campbell was going to sign a contract with Tottenham to be their highest paid player ever. We went to Tottenham, on our rivals, our fierce rivals, by the way, and we said, no, that's not happening, mate. He's coming to Arsenal. He came to Arsenal and the rest is history. Since then, we have not behaved like a big club when it comes to this transfer window stuff. We have not. We behaved like minnows, bro. We've behaved like we're always penny pinching. Like a club will say, like, we want 35 million for this player. We're always that club to go in and be like, okay, we'll give you 31. Then I'll be like, nah, mate, we want 35. We'll be like, all right, we'll give you 32.5. Then it will drag out another week. They'll be like, nah, we want 35. Like, that's it. Then we'll be like, okay, what about 34 million? What is this, bro? We're so tapped when it comes to the transfer market. I understand you need to negotiate, but it gets to a point where it's like, bro, you're dragging out the transfer for 6 weeks. Do you see what I'm saying? And then that shortens the amount of time that you have to then go and buy other players. It shortens the amount of time you have to be more active in the window. And that's exactly what happened this window. We ended up 6 weeks with Moreno, 4-5 weeks with Calafiori. Next thing you know, we made a panic buy on the transfer deadline day because there was no other option. So he can sit there and tell me he was on the phone with him and it took him 1 second to notice Sterling was the guy. Bro, you can sit there and do all of that all you want. But any fan that is woke can see right through that shit. The reality is you longed out Moreno for 6 weeks. You longed out Calafiori for 4 weeks. It was a lack of planning from Arteta and Edu. Therefore, we panicked by it on the final day. And that is exactly why you're coming out in your press conferences now, 10 games into the season, saying that Sterling doesn't look match sharp. If you knew that he wasn't match sharp, why the hell are you telling the fans 2 months ago that this guy is going to rejuvenate his career and he's going to be the difference maker? And when Saka's not available, he's going to come on and he's going to be the difference. What the hell are you talking about, bro? Are you taking the fans for idiots? Like, what is going on here, bro? Because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the PR. I'm tired of the nonsense. And I need this club to act right in this January. If they don't act properly in this January, forget about it. Right off the season. So they have 2 things to do. So in the title, it says, where do Arsenal go from here? 2 things. Stay in the pack. Stay within touching distance. If it's got to be 9 points and Liverpool go flawless till January, it's got to be 9 points. Just keep it. The maximum it can be is what it is now. It cannot get beyond 9 points. It cannot get beyond the 3-game swing because we have them at Anfield. If we beat them, it's a two-game swing. 2 games is very possible in the space of, 27 games, taking away the Anfield one that we play them. 2 games is fine. So even if it's a 9-point gap going into January, I'll accept that because that's just the mess that we've put ourselves in now based off the start. If it goes beyond 9 points, forget it, bro. Like, honestly, because at this point, we're hanging off a thread of hope. Our season is hanging off a thread. So at that point, just cut the thread and we're done in it. It's a top 4 battle. So stay within that 9 points, whether you can get it down to 4 points, whether you can get it down to 3 points, 6 points, 7 points, whatever it is, just stay within 9 points of the top, whether that's Liverpool or Man City or whoever. Then when you get to from now in November, I expect these guys to be planning for what's the necessary course of action in January. Don't wait till you get to January and then sit there and go, oh, it's January the 1st, scratching your head and thinking, what should we do now? January the 1st, let's go and see if there's any available players. Nah, mate. You should be planning from now. So plan from now and stay within the pack till January. If they can do that and then purchase the necessary transfers in order for us to push on and improve the squad and improve the first 11 and get them difference makers in the team, then I still have faith that this team can go on and win the title. Call me deluded, call me whatever you want in it. But if they stay within touching distance, okay, it's only these 2 conditions. Otherwise, forget about it. If they stay within these touching distance and get to the January transfer market and purchase the correct players in order to push on, then I'll believe. Now, if you ask me, do I think personally they're going to do that? The answer is no. Because I believe within these next 8 or 9 games, we're going to drop more points. And I also believe when we get to the January transfer window, there's going to be excuses. We're going to sign a dud, and then it's going to be excuses. And the PR is going to gloss over it, and the fans are going to buy into it, and people are going to say, oh, it's a 6 out of 10 window. It's hard. They always come out with it. It's hard to buy players in January. It's hard. It's hard. It's the middle of the season. What about the summer? Why is there always an excuse? And this is my problem with people. There's always an excuse. But anyway, people, man, I thought I'll just do a small stream. It was just a little short stream, coming up to 40 minutes. Not bad. Appreciate every single one of you that has come in. Make sure you guys are smashing the likes as well on the video. It goes a long way, man. I'm trying to put in as much work as possible. I started the redecorating as well today, so I am gonna have this set up hopefully by the end of the international break. So for the next watch along, we will have a proper setup and stuff, hopefully. If not, then in about 3 weeks' time, max. So yeah, man. Big up everyone that came through. Make sure you guys are smashing the likes, man. I only see 2 likes right now. And subscribe to the channel as well. Big up everyone. Blessings to you, your dog, your cat, your friends, your family, your next door neighbor if you like them. If you don't like them, it's what it is, isn't it? Big up people, man. Catch you next time.